Hear that hail as parts of Wisconsin assess the damage from this morning's storms. Others are bracing as the next line moves on through. And Governor Tony Evers' 400-year veto will stay in place, the decision from the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Plus, the NFL draft is just 6 days away now. News 3 Now Packers contributor Jason Wilde tells us about the chances of the Packers picking a first-round offensive lineman. And we welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson. Starting with weather right away, we are bringing you team coverage across our viewing area during this alert day. Severe damage is being reported in Evansville from this morning, and the current string of storms are making their way throughout southern Wisconsin. Meteorologist Blaze Keller is here right away with our first warn forecast and what we can expect the rest of the night. Hi, Blaze.
Hello. That's right. We've had 2 rounds of severe weather this morning, obviously producing those large hailstones. We had a couple of severe thunderstorms earlier this afternoon, and we still have that chance for maybe 1 or 2 severe thunderstorms as we begin to round out your Friday afternoon before heading into the evening hours. We still have that marginal risk for severe weather. Strong winds and large hail are still primarily our greatest threats. Now, it doesn't look like much, but those showers off towards Monroe, parts of Greene County as well as Rock County, that's where the thunderstorm activity that could potentially become severe is beginning. And as it continues to push its way off towards the east, it's going to be moving into an area that still has quite a lot of energy to work with, despite our 2 rounds of storms this morning and earlier this afternoon. So anybody there in the yellow, that includes parts of Greene County, most of Rock County, Jefferson County, Walworth County as well, to name a few. We're going to be watching you over the next few hours to see if these showers become thunderstorms and then further into severe weather. Because as I mentioned, despite the fact that we've had a couple of rounds move through southeastern Wisconsin, we still have quite a lot of energy for these storms to use. But as I've talked about many times, and I'll say it here again, sometimes we have all the ingredients, we're getting ready to make the dinner, make the meal, and it just doesn't come together. Or we do the math problem, we think we're doing it right, and we get the wrong answer at the very end. That could very well happen here because we've had a little bit of cloud cover and those 2 rounds of showers and thunderstorms earlier today. So we'll, of course, keep you guys updated. As I mentioned, this is primarily the area that we're going to be watching for that chance for severe weather. So if you're not in this yellow circle here, you're likely not going to be dealing with that chance for severe weather as we head into your evening hours. In the full forecast, we're going to talk about a rainy Easter weekend and also touch on some of those impressive hail reports coming in from earlier today. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you, Blaze. A few miles north of Janesville in Evansville, we saw some of the most severe damage this morning. Our Ellie LaLiberte has been there all afternoon and joins us now. Ellie, what have you heard from people throughout the day there?
Yeah, hey, Sarah, it's actually just started raining here, but that severe weather this morning, that golf ball sized hail. And this is what it'll do to a house. Take a look over here. You can see where that hail basically chipped off the side of this house. If you look up a bit, you can see where it's warped the side of this house. But it's not just homeowners dealing with damage today. We were at the Sinden Chevrolet dealership here in Evansville earlier and talked to the president of that dealership. He says across the 4 locations in Greene and Rock County, there's about $2 million worth in damages. He says that's because of the sheer size of the hail.
I wasn't quite sure about how bad it was, and I started seeing some golf ball, even baseball size hail, and I knew it was not good. And then they sent me some texts with broken glass and just hoods that were completely wrecked.
And since we've been here, we've seen people cleaning up the debris and we've seen cars getting towed away. We've also seen people tarping up their cars because since that hail hit, it's either blown out windshields or caused cracks in others. And now with this rain coming in, people tarping up their cars to make sure no water gets inside. I'll send it back to you. But for now, reporting live in Evansville, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
All right. Thank you, Ellie. And with storms causing millions of dollars in damages across the state, the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection is urging residents to be careful when hiring repair contractors. The agency says to work with your insurance company for sure and always check those reviews. They also say you should avoid those storm chasers who end up going door to door offering repairs, but they can take your money without doing the work. Finally, homeowners should hire trusted local contractors and verify those permits, get contracts in writing, and avoid paying up front. The Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction is refusing to sign a new federal certification related to to race and education funding. The U.S. Department of Education wants all states to formally promise that they will not use federal money to favor certain groups. However, our state superintendent, Jill Underly, says schools already follow the law and called the demand a threat to local control. She says local districts have submitted their own compliance letters and criticizes this federal process as vague and unclear. Well, the Wisconsin Supreme Court handed down a significant decision upholding the governor's partial veto power. This keeps in place Governor Evers' 400-year veto that extended funding for Wisconsin schools. Political reporter Will Keneally is here with more on the impact this decision will have.
Well, Sarah, a couple of things going on here, literally what this means for school funding, but also how much this decision gives power to the governor. Now, we spoke with a legal expert, Brenna Gadar, about how this could shape those powers going forward. She tells us that she wasn't necessarily expecting today's ruling.
I was actually somewhat surprised by the results. During oral argument, a lot of justices, including the liberal-leaning justices, expressed some skepticism about whether this is the direction that this power is meant to go and whether this is the type of thing that was intended under the Wisconsin Constitution.
So that's on the power side. On the money side, that keeps the school funding in place, certainly. But Republicans were also waiting for the state Supreme Court decision before deciding what to do with the next state budget. Now that we have this decision in hand, we'll see now going forward what lawmakers plan to do.
All right, thank you so much, Will. And now to a live look at Lambeau Field. Check it out, just days before the NFL draft. And guess what? T-Mobile has completed major 5G upgrades for the special occasion. The company installed a new antenna system inside the stadium, boosting speeds up to 10 times and expanded coverage citywide. Temporary towers and upgrades at airports and hotels will keep fans connected, enhancing both the draft experience and also long-term service for those local residents out there. Well, the Packers' offensive line situation is raising some eyebrows. 3 key starters, left tackle Rasheed Walker, right guard Sean Ryan, and right tackle Zach Tom are all entering the final year of those rookie deals. They are eligible for extensions now, but if deals are not reached, all 3 could hit the market rather, as unrestricted free agents next offseason. So with last year's draft already bringing in a lineman, could Green Bay go back to the well? We asked our Packers analyst, Jason Wilde, if the O-line could be a top priority next week.
They drafted Jordan Morgan in the first round last year out of Arizona. They're picking around the same area this year. They're the 23rd pick. Back in 2010, they drafted an Iowa offensive lineman at number 23 named Brian Bulaga. And then in 2011, they drafted another offensive lineman. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
So if you look back at the Packers general manager's track record, he has taken 3 linemen in 4 of the last 5 drafts. If he can add a couple more selections to the 8 he currently holds, Wilde says to not be surprised if he takes a couple of more linemen this year. And don't forget, News 3 Now will be covering the draft in Wisconsin all next week, and the experts will have team coverage from Eric Franke, sports director Zach Hanley, along with Andrew Banstra and our Packers contributor Jason Wilde. They will have the sight, sounds, and strategy leading up to next week's draft picks. Exciting stuff. Well, when News 3 Now at 6 continues, we continue monitoring all this severe weather out there, plus the story of the fight for a lung transplant and how it highlights the urgent need and life-saving impact of an organ donation. Plus, with Easter Sunday coming up, the price of eggs is on everyone's mind, but the latest data on how much families spend on Easter celebrations, it'll shock you.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back, everyone. Living with a chronic lung condition can be a serious challenge, but hope can often come thanks to organ donation. Janice Schroffnagel knows this firsthand. Diagnosed with interstitial lung disease, she's now waiting for a life-changing lung transplant.
It's kind of a two-edged sword kind of thing, because giving up your life to be able to give life, as far as, a lung or a heart goes, it's kind of a really special situation to be in. And I'm grateful that I'm going to have an opportunity, and I'm sure that everybody else that's out there waiting for their lung or hearts are waiting for, to have that opportunity also.
And we wish her well. Dr. William Ellenbach, a pulmonary medicine specialist with SSM, emphasizes the critical need for donors. Nationally, more than 100,000 people are waiting for organs, with about 1,400 alone in Wisconsin.
When people know how many people are waiting and really how desperate those people are, it just doesn't, there's no benefit to taking your organs with you when you die.
One organ donor can save up to 8 lives and improve 75 more through tissue donation. Well, classes remain canceled at Florida State University today following a deadly shooting on campus yesterday. 2 people were killed and 6 others injured. 2 of the injured have since been released from the hospital. 3 are expected to make a full recovery. Officials say Phoenix Ixner, the 20-year-old stepson of a local sheriff's deputy, opened fire near the student union there. He was wounded in a shootout with police and remains in the hospital. So far this year, 81 people have been killed in mass shootings, 352 injured. Well, tomorrow marks the 30th anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing, a devastating attack that claimed 168 lives, including 19 children and more than 400 injured. On April 19, 1995, a truck bomb exploded outside of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, causing widespread destruction. Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols were later convicted for their roles in that attack. Now, as the city reflects on the tragedy, a memorial stands to honor the victims and the heroism of those who responded in the aftermath. An American citizen is free today after Immigration and Customs Enforcement wrongfully detained him. Earlier this week, Florida Highway Patrol arrested 20-year-old Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez during a traffic stop. Lopez Gomez, who lives in Georgia, was arrested for crossing into Florida illegally and was then placed on a 48-hour hold. However, Lopez Gomez is an American citizen born in Georgia. He was traveling to Florida to work on a construction site in Tallahassee. Yesterday, a judge authenticated that birth certificate and he was released. And now an update on the status of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He's the man mistakenly deported from the U.S. last month. Senator Chris Van Hollen is back in the U.S. today after visiting Abrego Garcia in El Salvador and has just provided an update on his well-being. He says that Abrego Garcia has been transferred to a different facility and is no longer in the notorious El Salvador prison. He still has no ability to communicate, however, with anyone outside of his detention center in Santa Ana. Despite court orders for the Trump administration to facilitate his return, the White House says Abrego Garcia will, quote, never return to the U.S. The Madison Arts Commission is awarding $106,000 in grants to 66 individuals and organizations through its annual Arts Grants program. These projects span music, dance, visual arts, theater, and more, with the goal of enriching Madison's cultural landscape. And these were selected from 74 applicants. The grants support local artists, youth programs, and community engagement with funding from the city, the Wisconsin Area Arts Board, and the NEA. Well, Easter spending is expected to be higher this year, according to a report from the National Retail Federation. Despite economic uncertainty, shoppers plan to spend, get this, $23.6 billion this Easter, over $1 billion more than last year. The bulk of this spending is, of course, on candy, which accounts for over $3 billion. But chocolate may be a little more costly. The price of cocoa has been rising for several years due to crop shortages from droughts. The National Retail Federation says people who celebrate Easter will spend about $190 per person. Now over to weather. More storms are possible early this evening, especially south near Janesville. We'll tell you who's at risk and when the severe weather is expected to end. Stay with us.
Well, thank you, Nicole, for sending us this video of those large hailstones falling out of Evansville. This is where some of those reports were coming in of baseball-sized hail falling to the ground with those morning showers and severe thunderstorms. We then had a second round of severe weather earlier this afternoon, and we're still holding out for the chance for maybe 1 or 2 severe thunderstorms as we head further into your evening. Take a look at just some of these impressive hailstone diameters or sizes coming out of southern Wisconsin. Brooklyn, Platteville, Evansville, Edgerton. Baseball-sized hail, Belmont, Albany, Darlington, and North Prairie picking up hailstones that were at least hen egg size or greater as those storms move through this morning. And if you're curious, the largest hailstone in Wisconsin fell back in Wausau back in 1921, and it was over 5 inches in diameter. So how do we get these large hailstones to form? Well, in a storm with a strong updraft, raindrops are pushed further and further into that storm, crossing the freezing line. So some of those raindrops turn over to hailstones, and they kind of go back and forth, up and down in this updraft, becoming bigger and bigger. And then they eventually fall when that updraft cannot really hold them up anymore. So the size of these hailstones that we saw this morning really indicate how strong those updrafts were, because if they weren't strong storms, those hailstones would have been much smaller. And as I mentioned, we are still going to keep that threat for 1 or 2 severe thunderstorms through the rest of this afternoon, mainly across southeastern parts of Wisconsin. And then we look ahead to a quiet Saturday and then possibly a rainy Easter Sunday. Here's that severe thunderstorm threat that we're still going to hold out for through about 7, 8 o'clock tonight. After that, we quiet down. Winds turn out of the north, so more stable air moves overhead. And as we look ahead to your Saturday, we're looking at partly sunny to mostly cloudy conditions in those 50s. Then we jump ahead to Easter. Another low pressure system looks to move in out of the lower Mississippi River Valley, bringing us a lot of that heavier rain as we go Monday morning. So Sunday night into early Monday morning, but this system will take its time moving out. As we go throughout your Monday, it's finally beginning to exit as we close Monday and go into your Tuesday. So if you're going to be doing any Easter egg hunting, definitely want to do it on Saturday compared to Sunday. In terms of rain totals over the next 7 days, we're looking at a widespread 1/2 inch to possibly 1 inch of some much needed rain. We still have some dry conditions out there across southern Wisconsin, but we certainly have made some great improvements over the last few weeks with our rainy days. There's a look at your Easter forecast from 8 a.m. if you're going to be going to church through about the evening hours, 5 p.m. We will be dealing with those rain showers. We're back into those low 50s. Again, the better chance for rain is going to occur later Easter night into your early Monday morning. There's a look at that 10-day forecast. We do dry out as we go into Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, Thursday as well, at least here. Green Bay, if you're going to be heading up there for the draft, we may be dodging a shower or two, but it doesn't look to be widespread. So certainly enjoy yourself, whether you're heading up Wednesday or Thursday. And then we hang out in the 60s as we round out next week and go into the following work week.
And coming up in sports, Wisconsin closing in on their spring showcase. Well, the Badgers say they're looking forward to Saturday. That's next on News 3 Now. Tomorrow is practice 13 of 15 for Wisconsin, and it just might be the most important one during the spring for the Badgers. It's the spring showcase for Luke Fickell's squad. Not quite a spring game per se, but there will be hitting and tackling, and the starters will scrimmage for a portion of it. And after 3-ish weeks of playing in front of each other, you could say the guys are looking forward to showcasing what they've been working on.
There'll be nerves for some people. I know for me, a little bit, but that's always good. I know many of the coaches have stressed the magnitude of tomorrow and how important it is.
This is kind of our last opportunity, like our real live opportunity, because fall camp, we got to be smart. You can't really go live. This is going to be our last real opportunity.
As we found out yesterday, Damian Lillard's timetable to play is sooner than later. He won't play Saturday, but the All-Star guard says he feels like he's ready to go. Needless to say, Dame is thrilled to be back for the playoffs, and so is Giannis. Remember, the Greek Freak missed the postseason last year and most of the year before, too, due to his own injuries. So the Bucks' dynamic duo is, in a word, excited.
He's always goofy and he's always, making a joke here and there. But like the excitement that I haven't seen it like this, like how excited he is to be back in the playoffs. And it makes me excited. So, I was getting excited before I knew I was going to be playing. So it's like now that I know I'm going to have an opportunity to play, I'm like, man, like it's all coming together, like in perfect timing.
And in case you missed it, the United States hung up literally on Germany during yesterday's quarterfinal in the Women's Worlds. If you look closely on the ice, you can see a cell phone. Well, it turns out it was Caroline Harvey's. Her phone popped out on the ice after she hit the boards. Looked like there was a case on it, so hopefully it's working today.
She's got her cell phone on her.
Yeah.
And that's something we know now, too. All right. Now, later on at 10, repair crews from all parts of the Midwest are headed to Wisconsin to rebuild. Look at this. After today's storms, we'll be in the communities that were hardest hit. And Blaze has a final look on our forecast, and we've still got some potential for severe stuff.
Yeah, we're still looking at the area in the yellow here for the best chance for maybe 1 or 2 severe thunderstorms. We've had 2 rounds already, so there is a chance, but the further we go into your evening, that chance really starts to lessen. But I would say if you're in the yellow, so parts of Greene County, Rock County, Jefferson County, Walworth County, and Waukesha County, to name a few, you could be underneath that threat through about 7, 8 o'clock tonight. We dry out for your Saturday, do all the Easter egg hunting you can, because showers and thunderstorms move in for Sunday, carry on Sunday night, and wrap up as we go into the morning hours on Monday.
But it looks like we'll have a nice Saturday, plenty of time to celebrate and get outside.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks, Blaze, and thank you for joining us, everyone. We'll see you on News 3 Now at 10.